For our business, we want an offer so good that people would feel stupid saying no, right? So for this video, we'll be talking about your business model and what the best offer is. This offer will definitely separate you from your competition. And make sure you watch to the end of the video because that's the best part. But first, if you're interested in the business of EV charging, then you're in the right place. And I'd love if you were to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and please comment below if you have any questions that I didn't answer. Also, if you're serious about starting an EV charging business, then I have a course for you. And it's called How to Start an EV Charging Business in 90 Days. This is a game plan on each step to start making money. And I have it for you below. All right, let's go. All right, last video, we talked about getting everything set up, and a lot of it was assessing if this is going to be a good business for us to start. But now we're getting closer to taking off. So we want to make sure we have the right offer when we find someone that we're interested in trying to close. And this is where piece of advice number 1 comes in, and it's choosing a business model. So now that we know how much it's going to cost us for an average project, we got to figure out how we're going to make our money back and then some. So there's tons of different ways that EV charging companies are set up in regards to how much the host pays, how much the charging company pays, where the revenue goes, how much profits are split, if there's networking fees, the software fees, the transaction fees. There's a whole bunch of different ways that you can set up your business model. But I'm not going to go into all the different options. I'm just going to tell you what I would recommend. And here's the key. You're going to want to have a little bit of capital saved up before you get started because we're going to want to pay for the entire project. And you might be like, whoa, Trev, what are you talking about? This isn't charity. I'm not trying to give away EV chargers, but hear me out. If you pay for the entire project, then you still own that EV charger and you could potentially negotiate retaining 100% of the revenue that goes into the charger. And our first location, we're trying to find a spot or a setup that might cost only 5 or 6 grand all in for the entire project. So, it's not going to break the bank, but you're going to have a little bit of money ready to put down. If you are able to pay for the entire project and still retain ownership over the charger, then this gives you a lot of freedom in terms of how to figure out the terms. You're holding all the cards. It's nice too because it keeps things clean and simple. If the host was paying for half and you're splitting half of the profit, then things can get a little bit complicated and take more work to, figure out where all the funds are going. But remember, you're not necessarily going to get 100% of the money that goes into the charger, even if you paid for it, because the host or whoever owns that location is still paying the electricity bill. So just to give you an example, just to use some rough numbers here, let's say that the total revenue that went into your one charger for the month was $600, just to use an example. Now it costs the host $300 to supply the electricity for the charging. I haven't seen any agreement yet where the EV charging company will take 100% of the revenue and they don't reimburse the host for the cost of the electricity. That would be a pretty great deal, but there's no way that the host would go for that. So for our business model, this is what I'm recommending. I recommend that we pay for the entire project and we take 100% of the profit that goes into the EV chargers. But at the end of the month, we're going to have to write a check to reimburse the host for the electricity cost. Now, this is only one way to do it, and it works best in, certain situations. You definitely want to choose your location right. You don't want to have a dead area and you just invested 5 grand into a spot where nobody's using the charger. If that's the case, then, there's lots of different ways to set up the business model where you make sure, depending on which spot you choose, that you're still making a profit. But I'll go into the different business models in another video. For this one, for our first project getting started, we're paying for everything and we're taking 100% of the revenue. Also, I wanted to mention that with my course, for the first 10 people that sign up and complete the course, I'm offering a free one-on-one consulting call to help with your business. Thanks so much for subscribing, and I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers.